MTN News. This is Positively Montana, sponsored by Whitefish Credit Union.
Hello there, I'm Jill Valley, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Positively Montana. It is where we showcase incredible Montanans making a difference in their communities and the unique voices of Big Sky Country. Just ahead in the program, we're going to take you to the Field of Honor. It hopes to show remembrance and gratitude as the 20th anniversary of 9/11 approaches. We also have a story of two dads paving the way for the next generation with fly fishing rods in hand. But first, it is the largest donation ever given to a College of Nursing program in the entire country. The impacts of this multi-million-dollar gift reach as far as Bozeman, Missoula, and Kalispell. Our team coverage starts with Annie Johnson in Bozeman.
It may have been a regular Monday morning for you, but not here at Montana State University.
I feel like I'm getting married again today. I'm so excited.
President Cruzado had millions of reasons to be excited. Mark and Robin Jones, the founders of Goosehead Insurance, donated $101 million to the College of Nursing at the university.
We will be constructing new, expanded nursing education buildings on each of our nursing campuses located in Bozeman, Missoula, Kalispell, Great Falls, and Billings.
5 new buildings, new student scholarships, 5 professorships, and a new midwifery program will all be created because of the large gift. And nursing students agree it's not just about the money.
So we get all this money and people see a dollar sign in front of it, but it's, if I were to need care tomorrow in the hospital, I want the right person to be there, and I want somebody that has had all the opportunities to take care of me. Somebody has to go through training, somebody has to go through school to take care of you, and this is giving so many more people that opportunity.
The two have ties to Montana, but they're not MSU alumni. So it brings the question, why Montana State University, especially as a Harvard graduate?
Harvard, they don't need the money. This is an investment, and we're making the investment because there's great leadership at Montana State, and they brought forward a problem that we were, able to do something about working with them.
This is the largest donation given to a College of Nursing program throughout the country. Reporting at Montana State University, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
An announcement made at Montana State University on Monday is sending shockwaves through the collegiate nursing community. The largest donation ever given to a college nursing program was gifted to MSU, and that will have impacts not only in Bozeman, but across the state of Montana. Campus leaders are saying now more than ever, this gift means everything.
Speechless, couldn't fathom a number that large, couldn't even comprehend it at that moment.
Dale Mayer is still beaming from this news.
For $101 million.
The country's largest donation to any collegiate nursing program was just gifted to MSU. The pomp and circumstance of this announcement might have taken place in Bozeman, but the effects of this donation will ripple through the state all the way to Zootown.
MSU College of Nursing has had a campus in Missoula since 1976. So that is 45 years, and we have been honored to be a part of MSU College of Nursing here on the U of M campus. We've had a long-term lease. We've been in different spaces, most recently here in Corbin Hall, which is behind us.
Missoula's branch of MSU's nursing program boasts of 130 undergrad students, a handful of accelerated BSN students, and an online graduate program. But the temporary home for these students is bursting at the seams.
Our space in historic Corbin Hall, it was not built for classroom space.
The donation will provide funding for new facilities at each of the MSU College of Nursing's 5 campuses, including Missoula. New facilities will be equipped with modern classrooms and state-of-the-art simulation labs. The donation will also reach beyond the classroom.
Positively impact the health of Montanans all across the state, especially in the rural communities where they are health profession shortage areas. They don't have the providers out in those rural communities that we are lucky enough to have in Missoula. And so that's where we will educate our nurse practitioners and our BSN prepared nurses to go and work in those rural communities.
If there was ever a time to put the spotlight on nursing, Mayor says that time is now.
We did not expect there'd be a worldwide pandemic in 2020, but the pandemic has really highlighted the importance of nurses and the care they provided, especially during times and caring for vulnerable patients.
In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
300 American flags fly together in Big Fork, honoring lives lost on 9/11 as the 20th anniversary approaches.
We don't want the 20-year anniversary to get brushed aside for other reasons, and we're hoping that this will help people to remember it.
September 11, 2021 will mark 20 years since the tragic and unforgettable terrorist attacks that forever changed thousands of American lives and the heroic acts that followed.
In this case, what we wanted to do was bring awareness and attention to the fact that it was the 20-year anniversary of the attacks of 9/11-2001. And so by placing the flags up here, I think we've created a pretty nice visual display for people to see.
9/11 Honor and Serve Foundation President Bill Thomas and a team of volunteers helped set up 300 flags, with each flag representing a person lost on 9/11. Thomas hopes the Field of Honor will bring all community members together, a time to reflect and be thankful.
Regardless of what aisle of the political spectrum, it didn't matter. We were one nation, and we had shared this horrific time together. And so having the field here is just an opportunity for us to remind folks about that. It was 20 years ago, and let them know, we're still that. We're still a great nation. We still got a lot of great people, but maybe let them, think back to those times and how we just came together in with one common idea of, healing a nation from a tragic day.
Doug Averill owns Wrangler Springs Ranch and has opened his property to host the Field of Honor, inviting all visitors free of charge to see the flag dedication up close until September 11th.
If you remember at 9/11, everybody had a flag out and everybody supported each other, and it just seems with what's going on now, it's a great time to do a little bit of effort on our part.
Charles Del Campo was driving along Highway 35 when hundreds of American flags caught his eye. Del Campo says the flags reminded him of the ultimate sacrifice, fallen soldiers and friends from his time serving in the Vietnam War.
Well, I have friends that aren't here anymore. I have friends that have PTSD from that war, and I think about them often. And I just lost one last April, so you never forget. I miss their smile. I miss how they would tease me, that banter back and forth.
A special remembrance will take place here at the Field of Honor at 4 p.m. on September 11th. Admission and parking are free to the public. In Big Fork, Sean Wells, MTN News.
As they cast back, Gary Schild and Ben Charbonneau also cast forward towards future generations, paving the way with their fly rods in hand propped up next to a riverbank.
And to get some kids out fly fishing, to be honest, and spending the day with their dad. We just keep it as simple as that.
We just feel that connection is important, and any way we can foster that connection between a mentor or a dad and their child is what we wanted to foster.
3 years ago, the friends started the Casting Shadows Foundation when they looked around and noticed their fly fishing buddies were gone. Both families' kids were grown and Charbonneau's father had passed, so they decided to create a new group to fish with, and this group had a purpose.
And it's really so little about fly fishing and so much about spending time together outside.
These friends used fly fishing as a vehicle to spread their message of the importance of fatherhood, with life lessons and fishing lessons taught along the way.
Sometimes don't pull too hard, anytime you start fishing some smaller flies, it teaches you that, maybe a little bit of subtlety would be better than a complete tuna hook set.
The nonprofit raises money for 8 to 10 fully guided fishing trips for one girl or boy and who they consider to be a male role model in their life.
It's teaching young people how to be adults, how to be responsible adults.
Schild and Charbonneau combined their two greatest loves together to start a foundation, being a father and fly fishing. Along with fly fishing, there is fatherly advice like untying life's knots.
Even untying all the knots, and there was a lot of knots to untie.
The knots with some difficulty, but life's not without difficulty either. So it teaches patience.
The foundation is hosting its main fundraising event on Saturday, October 23rd at the Lolo Community Center. If you want to learn more about the events or Casting Shadows Foundation, you can head over to KPAX.com. In Lolo, I'm Hannah Hislop, MTN News.
There's more ahead on Positively Montana. It was 8 years in the making as Landons Legacy in Billings breaks ground on their miracle field.
More stories from the heart of the Treasure State are on the way when Positively Montana continues after this, sponsored by Whitefish Credit Union. Welcome back to Positively Montana, sponsored by Whitefish Credit Union.
A Great Falls woman is being recognized for helping to save a man's life. MTN's Coulter Anstadt tells us what she did and what her message is for others.
You wouldn't know unless I told you, but this spot I'm standing in right now in Great Falls was the site of a medical emergency. Thankfully, it's just steps away from a daycare where an employee knows CPR. Most of us wake up every day and go about our lives not expecting and maybe not even wanting to be a hero. But that's just what you might call Michelle Ressler.
The day it happened, I came out here to see what was going on.
Earlier this summer, in the alley next to the schoolhouse daycare and preschool where she works, she used CPR to help save a man's life.
I got the wave to come on out, and I went over there being nosy. Went out over there. We checked on the gentleman to make sure he had a pulse or not a pulse. No pulse at that time, so I just got down on the ground and started administering CPR.
This week, Great Falls Emergency Services organized a small ceremony for her.
We made this certificate for you in recognition for your efforts.
I would strongly encourage everybody to learn CPR.
For your efforts.
We actually had our CPR recertification 2 months prior to this happening. I am very grateful because otherwise I don't know if he would have survived.
Great Falls Emergency Services Medical Director Dr. Dustin Stewart says the recognition is important because it highlights a big need for the organization.
So one of the biggest things that we can have or need help with in the community is people willing to step up. People that are willing to, when they see an emergency happening, be willing to be the first ones there to be able to try and provide help.
When performing CPR, GFES General Manager Justin Gross says don't be afraid to push hard.
Ideally expose their chest so that your hands are actually on their chest and not on top of their clothing. Being on top of their clothing, you can start to skid around a little bit. And there is a certain spot you want to be for ideal chest compressions. And then you begin your chest compressions fairly rapidly and perhaps a little bit harder than one might think. You know, typically when we start chest compressions, we do feel some ribs break.
After the incident, Ressler called the hospital and tried to get information about the man, but the hospital couldn't release any information to her.
If you had a chance to talk to them, what would you say to him? Have you thought about that?
I'm glad that he survived. I'm happy to see that he's still alive because of what I did.
Now, the daycare worker was not the only one recognized at the ceremony. 2 Great Falls Emergency Services personnel were also recognized. To see their story, check out this story on our website. In Great Falls, Coulter Anstadt, MTN News.
Hello everybody, I'm Casey Conlon. For the last 8 years, we've watched Landons Legacy grow from an idea into a force. Maybe you've played in one of the golf tournaments. You've certainly seen one of the thousands of car window decals across town. But maybe you've wondered what it was all building toward. The answer, Billings' first ever, all-inclusive Miracle Field.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. It was surreal last night. It finally hit me that we're actually doing this. We're not just talking about it and asking people to help us, and it's actually happening.
Marcy Smith founded Landons Legacy the day she wrote her son's obituary, June 6, 2013. It was his dream to be a baseball player, but life never gave him that chance. The Smiths vowed they wouldn't let that happen to anyone else in this community.
Landon knows now that this is his. But now my way is for all the kids in the future and the present that finally get to play and have fun and be normal and be happy.
The groundbreaking marks phase 1 of the project that will be done in connection with infrastructure improvements to Poly Vista Park. Smith hopes to have the field surface down and ready for all to use by next spring. It will be just the second Miracle Field in the state. The other is all the way up in Kalispell, so it'll serve a huge special needs population, one the Billings Park system is finally helping.
I would like to think that we have jump-started the city on doing the inclusive playgrounds, because there was nothing, absolutely nothing here. And now I'm hearing the word inclusive more. I'm seeing more stuff being done.
Take one look around the groundbreaking, one of the most heavily attended in Billings history. Landon! And you could see what this project means to all.
You have forged a path for your son's legacy to bring joy, space, movement, and play to countless children, adults, and families who have not had a river of their own. This community has shown me so much love and support that I could never thank any of you enough.
I've learned about people and how amazing they are and how much they give and how much they care. I had no idea how much people cared in this community for each other. Here's to Landon.
Here's to Landon. Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Just ahead on Positively Montana, these scouts are learning to be good citizens by cleaning up our national parks.
Positively Montana continues after this.
The East Helena Boy Scout Troop 212 trekked into the Grand Tetons National Park in Wyoming. Not your typical tourist visit, though. MTN's Jordan Johnson spoke with the scouts about their experience.
Joining Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts offers kids an opportunity to help benefit their community. And the East Helena Troop 212 has dedicated their volunteer time to helping out in national parks, earning a badge for their hard work.
You're forced to slow down and experience the park, and what our park rangers do, and how much work and responsibility it is to have a national park.
Eric Sommer is the East Helena Troop 212's committee chair. He says the troop has done more than 240 hours of volunteer work in the last year. The Scouts put in some of their hard work while in Grand Tetons National Park.
Help them with putting oil on the bridge so it'll be more resistant to touch in the sun. And we also helped with lopping extra tree limbs that are in the trail cleanup. And it was a pretty fun experience because we also saw some bears.
Not just bears, they saw other animals they'd never seen in person before.
Yeah, we saw a moose and some black bear.
And there are more benefits of being a Boy Scout.
You get to meet a lot of people and do a lot of service work for others.
Summer says for him, the most awarding part is seeing the kids grow through the program.
It's great to see these kids grow from a young Cub Scout all the way into an Eagle Scout.
The program teaches kids responsibility and how to be a good citizen.
It's just really a great program for kids, and we do a lot of good work.
In Helena, Jordan Johnson, MTN News.
Hello everybody, Casey Conlon coming to you from the middle of the Yellowtail Reservoir. I'm lucky enough to be here because Billings has one of the best young up-and-coming fishermen in the country on the National Walleye Tour with a chance to be #1 in just a couple of weeks. Meet McKeever Dahlberg. There you go. First one of the day. At first glance, it may look like fishing just comes easy to McKeever Dahlberg. Well done. He's got a natural talent for it, no doubt. But he's also been working on it since he could walk.
Probably when I was like 2 or 3 at my grandpa's pond in Red Lodge.
I knew at an early age it was a passion for him, but I had no clue that it would turn into this. I don't think I've outfished him in the last 5 years. And we go fishing and he catches the first fish and he's catching the last fish, and I'm trying to figure out what to do in between.
Don't feel bad, Ty. He makes almost everyone in the country feel that way. Last year, after 15 years of fishing, McKeever decided he was ready for the next step. So he approached Dad with an idea.
Dad, I want to do the pro circuit, and he's like, no, I don't know. I don't know if you're ready for that. And I was like, yeah, I am.
And I said, how about we do a couple? Let's sign up for a couple. And he's like, nope, I'm not doing a couple. I'm doing all of them or none of them because I'm going to the championship, and you can't qualify for the championship unless you do all of them. I said, okay, we're doing all of them. So we signed up for all of them, and then here we are.
At 18, McKeever is one of the youngest co-anglers on the National Walleye Tour. Early on, he was met with more than a few sighs from pros who think they'd just been paired up with a kid still wet behind the ears. But it didn't take long to change that.
First day, I didn't do very good. I was in like 70th place, and then the second day, I had the biggest bag of the day out of everyone for the second day and jumped to 10th place, so that was pretty cool.
By the third tournament this summer, not long after his West High graduation, McKeever moved all the way to #1.
Every single pro he's been out with, they've come up to me afterwards and said, this kid is really fun. He's fun to be around, but he's an awesome fisherman, and he's a hell of a hand in the boat.
At this point, everyone wants to catch a glimpse.
McKeever's interview here, as you can see, and we've got a visitor here on the shore.
Word spread quickly. An hour later, after we moved to the other side of the canyon, this guy was wishing he had McKeever's skills. Those skills have him sitting #3, heading into next month's Tour Championship in Minnesota. Remember, at the beginning of the journey, his goal was just to make it there. Now,
there's still one more. I mean, I dropped 2 places, so I can make 2 places up again at one more tournament, so.
When he goes in to do something, either he's gonna win it or it's not worth doing it. And that's how he went into this whole tour thing, is I'm gonna come out on the other side a winner, and I'm gonna be in the championship, and I'm gonna win the boat.
that would come in handy when he turns pro next year, especially if it comes with all the latest technology. His current boat gets the job done, but
you can't wait to get to the more.
No, I can't. I know.
Waiting just isn't in his vocabulary.
Last fish of the day.
Casey Conlon, MTN News.
That does it for this week's edition of Positively Montana. For more stories just like these, head to your local MTN station's website and click on the Positively Montana link on the homepage.
The MTN, Montana's news leader.